All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's good to have you back here at the fourth Ethnosport Forum. As you can see, we're getting ready to put on our last discussion of this event. We're going to continue talking about the role of digital media and the digitalization of traditional sports and games around the world, an important topic. It's going to be in the same format as the previous one. So without further ado, allow me to introduce you, or rather hand over the floor to my colleague, John Ansevich.
Welcome to the second session. In this session, we'll discuss how digital media, social media, and digital platforms are used to engage with followers, players, and participants. However, before we get started, we have a short video on academic activities.
The World Ethnosport Confederation formed the Executive Board of Traditional Sports and Games Research for the purposes of removing the dust over the sports and games that various nations in many geographies have performed for centuries, of transferring this culture to new generations, and of researching traditional sports and games around the world in an academic framework. Consisting of 14 field-competent academicians from 9 different countries, the Executive Board of Traditional Sports and Games will crown their work with the broad and encompassing Traditional Sports Encyclopedia. The World Ethnosport Confederation provides doctoral students in various countries studying traditional sports and games with scholarship opportunities under the World Ethnosport Confederation PhD scholarships. We'll continue to support academic studies being done throughout the world in the upcoming process. In addition to financial support, World Ethnosport Confederation PhD scholarships provide researchers pursuing studies in the field with the opportunity to gain extensive awareness.
In this session, I'd really like to open up the topic of digital media and the tools used, specifically in traditional sports and games. Now remember, if you'd like to participate in this session, remember to dial in and click on the raise hand icon. We're asking for people to talk about how social media platforms, the role of digital media plays a part in sports and games, specifically with ethnosports. So call in, click on the raise hand button so we can discuss this topic in further detail. We have a caller from Macedonia, Mr. Hamid Bakija. Mr. Bakija, welcome to our session. We'd like to get your insight into the topics that we've discussed earlier. Mr. Bakija, can you hear me? Okay, it seems we're having some technical difficulties. We'll try connecting to Mr. Bakija a little later on. So as we move quickly into a digital world, especially during these times, we're asking our attendees how social media impacts traditional sport and games. So what are they doing in their countries? How are they utilising social media and digital media, particularly with Ethnosports and their games, their cultural games and sports? So raise your hand, hit the button, dial in, and let's have a discussion on digital media and social media.
Under the motto, Reviving Traditional Sports, the World Ethnosport Confederation aims to systematize traditional sports and games, while increasing awareness and making their practice more accessible and permanent. The Ethnosport Forum brings together many esteemed participants from all over the world to discuss challenging topics regarding the past, present, and future of ethnosports. The Ethnosport Forum provides the opportunity to determine joint strategies and international collaborations aimed at reviving traditional sports through a collective platform. The Ethnosport Forum, which has been held annually since 2018 and welcomes participants from 70 different countries, invites attendees to share ideas and help build a common ethnosports roadmap through panels and roundtable discussions. The Ethnosport Forum's purpose is to inspire the future of traditional sports through valuable ideas shared from experts in different fields.
Muharrem. We're now joined by Mr. Muharrem Tuna from Turkey. Hello. Welcome.
Sesim geliyor mu?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Foruma Türkiye'den katılıyorum. Ankara Hacı Bayram Veli Üniversitesi öğretim üyesi ve Turizm Akademisyenleri Derneği Yönetim Kurulu Başkanıyım. Öncelikle tüm katılımcıları saygıyla selamlıyorum ve bu başarılı ve yararlı organizasyonun sahibi, başta Başkan Sayın Necmettin Bilal Erdoğan olmak üzere tüm Dünya Etnospor Konfederasyon yetkililerini tebrik ediyorum. Bir turizm akademisyeni olarak geleneksel sporları bu açıdan değerlendirmek istiyorum. Turizm günümüzde dünya ihracatında kimya ve petrolden sonra 3. büyük sektör haline geldi. Gerçi Covid pandemisi bir durağanlığa neden oldu, ancak yakın zamanda yeniden büyüme trendinin başlayacağına turizmciler olarak inanıyoruz. 2019 yılında uluslararası turizm harcamaları 1,7 trilyon dolara, seyahat eden kişi sayısı da 1,5 milyar kişiye yükseldi ve dünya ekonomilerini yönlendiren önemli bir sektör olarak yerini korudu. Turizmin en önemli çeşitlerinden 2 tanesi spor turizmi ve kültür turizmi. Etnik sporlara biz turizmciler bu 2 farklı yönden bakıyoruz. Söz konusu spor türleri 2 açıdan da turizmde büyük öneme sahipler. Etnik sporlara öncelikle kültürel açıdan bakmamız gerekiyor. Bu değerlerin hem yaşatılması hem de gelecek nesillere aktarılması hayati derecede önem taşıyor. Her toplumun, her bölgenin kendine has geleneksel sporları olması muhakkak. Günümüzde bunların bir kısmı unutulmuş, bir kısmı unutulmaya yüz tutmuş, bir kısmı ise zorlukla da olsa yaşatılmaya çalışılıyor. Turizm bu spor türlerinin yaşatılmasında en önemli araçlar arasında yer almakta. Dünya genelinde kültür turizmine olan ilgi de gittikçe artıyor. Dünya Turizm Örgütü'nün yaptığı bir araştırmaya göre seyahat eden kimselerin %40'ı kendilerini kültür turisti olarak ifade ediyorlar. Bu durum politika yapıcıları ve uygulamacılarına önemli ışık tutan bir veri olarak değerlendirilebilir. 2002 yılında Birleşmiş Milletler tarafından ilan edilen Kültürel Miras Yılı sırasında UNESCO kültürel miras türlerinin listesini belirlemişti. Bunlar arasında geleneksel spor ve oyunlara da yer verilmiştir. Dolayısıyla bu konu uluslararası düzeyde bir platforma taşınmış ve önemini pekiştirmiştir. Geleneksel sporların kültür turizmi kapsamında ele alınması, bölgesel ve ulusal kalkınma ile sürdürülebilir turizm açısından büyük önem taşımaktadır. Çünkü kültür turizmi kapsamında seyahat edenler daha eğitimli, daha meraklı, daha ilgili, çevre hassasiyetine sahip ve göreceli olarak daha fazla para harcayan turistler. Turizmde geleneksel sporlara ikinci olarak spor turizmi penceresinden de bakabiliriz. Spor turizminde insanların spora katılım amacına ulaşabilmesi için kitlelere turizm hizmetlerinin sunulması gerçekleşiyor. Bu katılım insanların bizzat spor yapmasına vesile olarak aktif katılımını hedeflediği gibi izleyici olarak pasif katılımı da hedefliyor. Ayrıca geleneksel sporların da ele alınacağı nostaljik spor turizmi adı altında spor turizmi kapsamında organizasyonlar icra ediliyor. İşte bu noktada geleneksel sporlar turizm açısından ön plana çıkıyor. Spor turizmi de kültür turizmi gibi ekonomik gelişmelere sağladığı katkı bakımından oldukça önemli. Ortalamalara göre bir spor turisti normal turistin yaklaşık 2 katı kadar harcama yapıyor. Normal bir turist ortalama $700 harcama yaparken spor turisti yaklaşık $1300 harcama yapabiliyor. Buna göre ulusal ve bölgesel düzeyde turizm gelirlerinin artırabilmesinde spor turizminde geliştirilmesi önem taşımakta. Covid-19 dönemi etnik sporların envanterlerinin çıkarılması, standartların oluşturulması ve bu konuda dijital yollarla merak uyandırma dönemi olarak geçirilmesinde yarar var. Pandeminin gerilemesiyle bu tür etkinlik kaynaklı turizm hareketlerinde hızlı bir artış görülecek. Çünkü insanlarda bu dönemde bir seyahat ve tatil açlığı oluşacak. Bu oluştu hatta. Bu kapsamda neler yapabiliriz? Kısaca bu konudaki görüşlerimi de sizlerle paylaşmak isterim. Öncelikle etnik sporlar sanal gerçeklik veya karma gerçeklik ile tanıtılabilir. Bu oldukça önemli. Buradaki de amaç ilginin gerçek uygulamalara yönlendirilmesi, gerçek organizasyonlara insanların motivasyonu sağlanması şeklinde değerlendirilebilir. Ayrıca sosyal medya bu konuda önemli bir araç olarak kullanılabilir. Özellikle kısa viral videolarla ancak belgesel olarak değil, duygulara hitap edecek yöntemlerle yaygınlaştırma gerçekleştirilebilir. Geleneksel sporlar oyunlaştırılarak öğretilebilir. Bu moda oldu biliyorsunuz son dönemlerde. Bunun için de dijital oyunların hazırlanması oldukça önemli. Ya da mevcut oyunların, yeni oyunların değil de mevcut oyunların içine bu tür geleneksel sporlar entegre edilerek geleneksel sporların yaygınlaştırılması sağlanır.
Thank you so much. Thank you for participating.
Teşekkür ediyor, saygılar sunuyorum.
Thank you. Moving on to our next caller, we have Pera La Vega from Spain. Hello, Mr. La Vega. Welcome to the session.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. And firstly, I would like to congratulate the organizers because nowadays in this current situation, I think that it's very important to feel that people that are far away, they are close to us. So thank you so much for this fourth edition. I had the pleasure to be with you in some other before editions, and I congratulate you because you're always very competent organizing this sort of events. So, in related to the topic of this activity, I would like to share with you from my point of view, two key questions. I'm the president of the European Association of Traditional Sports and Games, a friendly association of WEC. We have signed an agreement, and I'm also a professor at the National Institute of Physical Education of Catalonia, INEF, at the University of Lleida, in this subject of traditional games and sports. What we have done during these difficulties, during this pandemic situation, I think that we could highlight two main sort of actions. Firstly, related to the members of our association, an European association. I think that when we share this sort of events is because we want to do our best to promote networking. It's very, very important to promote networking. So in our case, during normal situations, we organize every year a general assembly where people, the members, we are more or less 75 members from 18 countries in Europe, we keep in touch, we meet each other, and we can feel that we are members of the same community. But during the pandemic, it was not possible. So the first thing to answer to these difficulties was to organize, by the first time, an online general assembly where all the people were invited, as well as other countries, other organizations from other countries and continents, in order to feel that we are feeling the same, that we are there working in the same direction. This is the first thing that I would like to share with you. The second action that we did was to try to promote the visibility of our members. So last January, we organized in an online system, we organized the first edition of the European Forum of TAG, Traditional Sports and Games. And then more than 2,200 people from 45 countries from different continents, they could attend this forum, but it was just to invite our members to present themselves in a very short way, just to say, we are here in a very difficult moment, but we are surviving. We are trying to do our best. And I take profit of this moment to inform you that the second forum will be organized for next month, and we have invited the president of your organization, WEC, to be in the opening ceremony, because we need to share symbolic messages. And with this intention, we are sharing this idea that we are working in the same direction.
I'm sorry to cut you off. What are the changes that you will be making this year in this year's forum, in terms of digital media?
Well, we try to share with all of our members our social networking. That means to try to share by streaming, by Facebook, by different tools with the local media this news, that to show our local media one message that has been presented this morning. We need to think globally in order to act locally. So some local TVs, they could be there following our actions, just to recognize that around the world, we are sharing the same values, the same things. And some local TVs, they were able, and they were very interested to recognize in this easy way what is happening currently in different countries that are close out, that are very far away from that local communities or territories. And if I can finish with the second message, from our point of view, there are a second very important group of people that should be taken into account. These are the scholars, the education, where they are doing many interesting actions. And for this reason, we have promoted a MOOC, a massive open online course with a very clear subject: learning to live together through TAG, through traditional games and sports. And then we are giving in an open way the knowledge to understand the meaning of these activities and in order to give tools to people that perhaps they are in some difficulties, a situation with some difficulties, resources, to get this knowledge and to promote again this idea of thinking globally in order to act locally. These are the two things that I wanted to share with all of you, and thank you so much for inviting
Thank
me.
you. Thank you for participating. We now have Mr. Madat from Russia. It seems, oh, here we go. Hello, Mr. Madat, welcome. Welcome to the session. It seems we're having some sound difficulties. Tamam. We are now joined by Mr. Ahmet from Hungary. Hello, welcome to the session. Could you...
Merhabalar, teşekkür ederim. Ahmet Barışçıl, Macaristan'dan. Öncelikle Macar Turan Vakfı Başkanı Biro Andraş Bey'in selamını iletmek istiyorum Bilal Erdoğan Bey'e ve tüm katılımcıları selamlamak istiyoruz. Biz Macaristan'da bilindiği üzere 10 yılı aşkındır Macar Turan Vakfı olarak büyük bir organizasyona imza atıyoruz. Hun Türk Kurultayı adı altında 2 yılda bir gerçekleştirdiğimiz programa Türk dünyasının neredeyse bütün üyelerini davet ederek büyük bir bayram şenliğinde bir program organize ediyoruz. Şunu rahatlıkla söyleyebilirim ki Avrupa'nın en büyük geleneksel programıdır bu bizim yaptığımız program. Özellikle bu pandemi süreciyle birlikte hepimiz aynı sıkıntıyla karşılaşmaya başladık. Mesela 2020 Hun Türk Kurultayı'nı organize edemedik. Pandemi buna engel oldu maalesef. Ama önümüzde mesela bu sene Ağustos ayında yapacağımız ataları anma programına şöyle bir farklılıkla imza atmak istiyoruz. Dijitalizasyonun faydalarından istifade ederek kurultaya mesela Atalar Günü'ne katılamayacak olan dostlarımıza, gönüldaşlarımıza şöyle bir hizmet sunmak istiyoruz. Online canlı bağlantılar kurarak 3 gün boyunca Türk dünyasına bizi takip eden, bizimle beraber olmak isteyip de bizimle olamayan dostlarımıza bu hizmeti sunmak istiyoruz. Dijitalizasyondan şu şekilde aslında istifade edebiliriz özellikle. Kısa videolar çekerek bizleri takip eden dostlarımıza bu kısa videoları sunmak gibi bir imkan var elimizde. Bence son dönemde belki biraz göz ardı ettiğimiz bir hadiseydi ama pandemi bizi buna zorladı. Gençlere ulaşmanın en güzel yöntemi sosyal medyadan istifade ederek onlara ulaşabiliriz. Biz Macaristan'da şöyle bir planımız var, şöyle bir hedefimiz var. Sosyal medya fenomenlerini Türk dünyasından programımıza davet etmek istiyoruz. Macaristan'da da sanatçı olsun veya sosyal medya fenomenleri olsun, bunları aynı şekilde programlarımıza davet ederek onların vesilesiyle daha çok, daha büyük kitlelere ulaşmayı hedeflemekteyiz. Katılımcıların söylediklerini tekrarlayarak ben vaktinizi çalmak istemiyorum. Bu yüzden dolayı bütün katılımcıları tekrar selamlamak istiyorum. Dördüncü programa bizler de katıldık, bundan şeref duyduk. Umarım bir dahaki programa online değil de yüz yüze görüşmek nasip olur. Hürmet
Teşekkür
ediyorum,
ederim.
saygılar sunuyorum.
Thank you. We now have Mr. Antonio from Italy. Hello, Mr. Antonio. Welcome to the session.
Good afternoon. I put my congratulations for the initiative that in pandemic moment it's very, very, very beautiful. I'm not Antonio Merendoni. I'm a trusted collaborator of co-worker of Antonio that have now technical problem. I and the teacher Antonio in many years that have initiative on the scoprire in diversi in different Italian museum ethnographic museum. It's many years that we have started research on traditional Italian fencing and wrestling in Italy, but even in Europe and Turkey. I've recuperated a lot of documentation that is put online in digital format for the lovers of this discipline. We have a collaboration with the President Giorgi of Courage Italia, and for the reborn on traditional wrestling. We are the leader of a federation of traditional and culture wrestling and fencing team that with demonstration and collaboration with the media, we preserve the Italian fencing and wrestling in cultural and in the Europe context.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for joining. We're now joined by Afif from Macedonia. Mr. Afif, welcome.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Dear participants, allow me on behalf of the Ministry of Culture of the Republic of North Macedonia and the institution, as well as non-governmental organization dealing with the protection of traditional games, to greet you and wish your success in the forum. Honorable, such an event is manifest every year in Studenica, Skopje, organized by NGO Axi, where every year they, with the support of the Ministry of Culture, organize Ethnofest traditional with the participants of the 100 wrestlers from Balkan countries such as Turkey, Greece, Albania, Bulgaria, Kosovo, and North Macedonia. It is worth mentioning that such an organization, incorporation, was also organized with Ethnosport in 2017, where the staff headed by the Vice President of Ethnosport, Mr. Hakan Kazanci, were part of the event. Otherwise, such events are organized in the settlements of Saray, Galandovo, Kitevo, etc., mainly where the Albanian and Turkish population live in North Macedonia. In addition to the state-sponsored wrestling in Karşıyaka, also wrestling in Turkish population in the Republic of North Macedonia has been elaborated and defended, as well as from all traditional games of the peoples living in North Macedonia, such as Popachka, all traditional dance, which is also on the UNESCO list. These are some information regarding the protection of traditional games that opportunity during 2020, but even now, due to the situation, organizations have not been able to be realized. With God help, the pandemic will pass as soon as possible, and we should make the next meeting physically, as well as the organization should start as soon as possible, because only through digitalization we can be informed all together for all traditional games all over the world. Thank you for your attention. I wish you health and success. Sincerely, Afet Yashari, North Macedonia.
Thank you very much. Now remember, if you want to participate in the conversation, log into the system, tap in the sign in button, click on stage, click on raise hand, and then click on the start conversation. Don't forget, join us. We're discussing how you see social media and today's digital space having a role in promoting and popularizing ethnosports.
Ethnosports is the collective wealth of traditional sports and games that have been performed for centuries in different nations from various geographies. Ethnosports is the experience that has been passed on from generation to generation through belongings, stories, poems, by word of mouth, and the things that form our individuality and make us who we are. It is competition, not ambition. Struggle, not war. Health, not doping. The player's potential and the fans that cheer, not customers. It is the place where different cultures meet and mingle, the siblinghood of having walked the same land, the excitement of lifting a tradition back onto its feet. In light of these objectives, formed in 2015, the World Ethnosport Confederation is a relatively new institution, but it has deep-rooted accumulation, and with its professional representatives in the numerous countries who are aware of their responsibility to revive time-honored sports that many nations have performed in distant geographies over the centuries to increase awareness and to transfer the culture to future generations. The World Ethnosport Confederation continues its journey through the wealth of activities, festivals, forums, and academic studies. It arranges for the purposes of preserving traditional sports that are humanity's common heritage and systematically ensuring their continuity with discipline.
We have Marcos Terena from Brazil who is called in. Hello, Mr. Terena.
Buenos días. Buenos días. ¿Me escuchan? ¿Me escuchan?
Yes.
Ok. Buenos días a todos, hermanos, hermanas. Aquí habla Marcos Terena, soy indígena de Brasil. Soy el coordinador internacional de los Juegos Mundiales de los Pueblos Indígenas, que hemos creado para la manifestación indígena del mundo. Ya logramos hacer 2 Juegos Mundiales, uno que comenzó en Brasil con la presencia de 23 países de todo el mundo, incluso de Mongolia, incluso de África y también del Pacífico. Para mí es una alegría. Muchas gracias por la oportunidad de estar aquí con ustedes, hablando, mirando qué trabajo ustedes están haciendo. Creo que nosotros, indígenas de Brasil, tenemos mucha expectativa para participar también con nuestra identidad, nuestra cultura, nuestra espiritualidad y también nuestra fraternidad. Nosotros tenemos para hacer estos Juegos Mundiales, tuvimos el apoyo de las Naciones Unidas, porque ahí en Naciones Unidas tenemos derechos en una declaración mundial y donde está escrito también que nuestro derecho a practicar los deportes de los pueblos indígenas tradicionales. Entonces, estar aquí compartiendo con ustedes por primera vez y también conociendo tantos países que aquí en Brasil yo personalmente no sabía que había y hay. Entonces, creo que estamos listos, prontos, queremos hacer los terceros Juegos Mundiales de los Pueblos Indígenas aquí en Brasil de nuevo para el año 2022, año próximo. Pero también estamos sufriendo mucho. Hay muchos atletas, consejeros, ancianos, indígenas que están muriendo por este coronavirus. Y tenemos miedo porque son doenças, enfermedades que en nuestras tradiciones espirituales, nuestra medicina no tiene cómo soportar y ayudar a vivir. Por último, quería decir a ustedes también que cuando hablamos de juegos indígenas tenemos tres niveles. Uno, juegos tradicionales de identidad, de cultura e identidad, como arco, como luchas también, pero hay esportes también que no son indígenas, como el fútbol, famoso fútbol, porque el primer Juegos Indígenas de Brasil, quien nos apoyó fue el rey del fútbol, Pelé, cuando era ministro de deporte aquí en Brasil. Y también tenemos interés de hacer yo he visto unas fotos aquí, creo que muy maravilloso, que ustedes están trabajando como dar visibilidad, no solamente a los juegos, pero también a los intercambios. Los Juegos Mundiales tienen mucha preocupación con la salud de los pueblos indígenas y también con el medio ambiente y también con la calidad de vida en las comunidades. Y también por una cuestión de afirmación, de respeto entre los pueblos. Somos muy diferentes. En Brasil, más de 300 pueblos. Y por eso queremos dar ese mensaje a ustedes de ánimo y pedir al grande Espíritu que puede bendecir a nosotros y darnos palabras, sabiduría y también fraternidad en la diferencia. Un abrazo a ustedes todos y muchas gracias por esta oportunidad.
Thank you. Thank you for participating. We are trying to connect again with Mr. Hamid from Macedonia. Mr. Hamid. Hello. It seems we're having some difficulties with the sound. We're now moving on to the next call. Mr. Al Mamun from Bangladesh. Hello, welcome to the session.
Hello.
Hi.
First of all, let me express my thanks for allowing me to participate and speak few minutes as representative of Ethnosport Bangladesh Association. At the same time, I would like to thank Mr. Bilal Erdogan, the Honorable President, of today's sport Ethnosport Forum and the president of the World Ethnosport Confederation. With his guidance and hard work, Ethnosport today has regained its lost tradition and gained popularity all over the world. Ethnosports or traditional sports are a reflection of a culture that comes from the depths of history. It's important in terms of developing people's feeling of love, respect, and brotherhood in national and international fields, and contributing to world peace. The World Ethnosport Confederation has taken steps to revitalize traditional sports and games nationally and internationally. Our Ethnosport Bangladesh Association is a national organization engaged in activities that aim at increasing and spreading awareness of ethnosports and games in Bangladesh. In line with this, first time I established the world's most popular ethnosports in Bangladesh like mass wrestling, Salvar Guraishi, Aba Guraishi, Kirkis Kurush, Mangala, and Tuhus Kurgur. These all ethnosports have grown dramatically over the past 5 years in Bangladesh under the supervision and cooperation of our country's sports ministry. Obviously, are also World Ethnosport Confederation. And we successfully organized many national and local competition, won ethnosports in Bangladesh. And 2020, we organized the National Ethnosport Retraining Course on 17 November 2020. And we will be very happy to know that the ethnosports has become popular in the educational institution of our country and day by day. I believe that ethnosports will become popular games in all over the Bangladesh with the cooperation of the World Ethnosport Confederation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for participating. We now have our next caller, Mrs. Sarah from Brazil. It seems we're having some technical difficulties again, some connection problems. To dial in, again, click on the stage button, on the raise hand, and start the conversation. Join us as we continue discussing more about digital media and ethnosport. We now have Mrs. Zimmerman from Brazil. Hello, welcome. Welcome to the session.
Sorry, I cannot hear. You? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much. I would like to express our gratitude to the World Ethnosport Confederation for this opportunity to share thoughts and learn from other experiences on promoting ethnosport. I am Dr. Ana Zimmerman from Brazil, and I work with Dr. Soraya Shumsaura with traditional games and sports at the University of São Paulo. There seems to be an understanding that the pandemic highlights and enhances problems that already exist in our society, especially about how we perceive and relate to the environment and to the others. COVID-19 crisis suggests a moment of listening and reflection in which we can identify a possible pedagogical power from traditional communities and culture. We would like to first highlight wisdom and knowledges, somewhat neglected, which may help us to rethink urgent issues in our society. In this scenario, we emphasize, based on the experience of Brazilian communities, a respectful relationship with nature, with our own bodies, and with traditional knowledge. So when we talk about ethnosport, we are considering all cultural references related to them. Nowadays, in Brazil, traditional communities have been very active in social media, such as Instagram and Facebook, which is very important to report attacks, share information, and culture in general. So, new technologies play a strategic role in strengthening cultural manifestations, games, and events. Indigenous people receive smartphones and other devices from different projects to produce content about them for them. They are also trained to monitor their local with equipments. Internet connection and devices allow different traditional communities to publicize their culture, including traditional sports and games. So we understand that social media are very important to promote ethnosport. During this period, what we are doing at the university, we share information on websites, we promote and participate in lives for discussion and promoting traditional sports and games among school teachers and public in general. We develop discussions online with our students. And what we suggest to support traditional communities and improve their participation in different forums through online platforms, technology allow proposals to be made together with the communities to promote and encourage games on ethnic sports for youth in school programs, to promote digital dialogue among students and traditional communities where they can present themselves, their culture and games, to promote an international digital library on traditional sports and games, and finally, to create an international platform to share good practices on traditional sports and games among different countries and cultures. We believe that diversity brings strong possibilities of finding new solutions for all. We are very happy to be part of this community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Zimmerman. And we have from Mexico now, Mr. Rodriguez. Hello. Hello, Mr. Mahdi. No, it seems we're having another problem. We have Mr. Mahdi from Iran. Hello. Hello. We're having some technical difficulties with the sound at the moment. We have Mr. Rodriguez from Mexico. My apologies. From China, we have Mr. Stefan Christ. Hello.
Yes, can you hear
Welcome
me?
to the session. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Yes, probably the people who will watch would wonder why I am in China. I am originally from Austria, doing research on traditional sports and games among the Mongols, in particular among the Mongols in Russia, the Buryat Mongols, and I am an assistant professor at the Inner Mongolia University in Hohhot in China since 2017. I am following this fourth Ethnosport Forum with great interest, and I'm thankful to the organizers for great work to make this possible. and at the same time thankful to all the participants who are sharing their thoughts and ideas. Many things have already
Öyle
been
yapabilir
said.
miyim?
I can only
Tamam,
agree with that, of course, social media, whatever it is, Instagram, Facebook, WeChat here in China, or WhatsApp, and whatnot. In general, the internet is extremely important, of course, for promoting, safeguarding, and further developing traditional sports and games. I want to make shortly 2 points, two suggestions actually. One is a little bit a side note to another digital technology. This is digital mapping. I myself will this summer start a digital mapping project of places here in Inner Mongolia in China where Mongolian traditional sports are played by the people, by the local people, in order to get a better picture of the geography of these traditions and where they are and how widespread they are and who and when and where especially is playing them and doing them. I think this could be is not only interesting for science but also could be used for touristic and economic purposes as well. A second suggestion which I would like to make is as you, the World Ethnosport Confederation, is obviously able to organize such online events like this in a very, very good way. I'm wondering whether you couldn't provide help for people and federations, organizations on a local level or on a national level who have difficulties to do this, who have difficulties to set up their own website or their Facebook page or something like this. So maybe you can, I don't know, provide some help, some develop, create some branch or department in your confederation, which would help and would act as a like an digital social media umbrella organization for helping many others who have difficulties to do this. This is my suggestion. And thank you very much again for giving me the opportunity to speaking up here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Christ. We now have Mr. Rodriguez from Mexico. Hello, Mr. Rodriguez. Welcome to the session.
Gracias. Hola, buen día tengan todos y todas ustedes. Primero, si me permiten, agradecer al excelentísimo señor Bilal Erdogan la invitación a este cuarto foro, a este muy importante foro. Quisiera también transmitirles un afectuoso saludo de la directora general de esta Comisión Nacional de Cultura Física y Deporte, Ana Gabriela Guevara. A todos los participantes, reconocerles el hecho de que estén hoy presentes. Hoy tratamos de platicar del tema del rol de la digitalización. El hecho de estar hoy aquí es un hecho sin precedente que tiene impacto. Lo platicábamos desde el foro del año anterior, que tuve la ocasión de acompañarlos de manera presencial. Ya ahí hablábamos del tema del uso de las tecnologías de la información y hoy más que nunca por esta pandemia vemos el impacto que tiene este uso de manejo de redes. Quisiera referirme rápidamente a algunos de los temas de quienes me han antecedido. Es el caso del tema de Turquía en la realidad virtual, el tema del turismo y cómo debe de impactar. Creo que el manejo de las redes sociales puede contribuir muchísimo al desarrollo de los juegos y deportes autóctonos y tradicionales en la parte cultural, académica, turística y desde luego deportiva. Debemos, creo yo, y refiriéndome también a lo que por ahí decía nuestro compañero de Hungría, en relación a esta pandemia que nos ha afectado, debemos hoy más que nunca tratar de preservar ya esta parte del uso de las redes, este manejo que debemos hacer para fortalecer todos nuestros deportes autóctonos y tradicionales. Saludo desde luego también a Marcos Terena, me da mucho gusto, Marcos, a la distancia saber que te encuentras bien de salud, pese a este tema de la pandemia. Hablabas de la visibilidad, la diversidad de los pueblos que debe ser reconocida. Creo que esto es parte de lo que hoy nos permite precisamente el manejo de las redes sociales, un acercamiento, un acortar las distancias, el que estemos más cerca en el mundo todos nosotros para hablar del mismo tema. La importancia, decías también, Marcos, del medio ambiente y de la calidad de vida. Quiero expresar por último que nosotros, ¿qué estamos haciendo acá en México? El 27 y 28 de noviembre del 2020, el año pasado, se desarrolló el Encuentro Nacional Digital de Juegos y Deportes Autóctonos y Tradicionales. Este fue un proyecto desarrollado precisamente a partir de la problemática que nos presentó la pandemia y la necesidad de reimaginar y de reinventarnos y tener una experiencia virtual en este encuentro que se venía ya realizando desde hace 22 años por parte de la Federación Mexicana de Juegos y Deportes Autóctonos y Tradicionales en colaboración con esta Comisión Nacional de Cultura Física y Deporte. Este encuentro se realizó a través de una plataforma digital con un esquema calendarizado de transmisiones tanto en vivo como grabaciones ya producidas, en el cual participaron 16 estados de la República, con 50 actividades, entre las que se destacan juegos de exhibición de habilidades físicas como el ulama, la pelota purépecha, la pelota mixteca y el atlas. Actividades de origen ancestral con más de 2.500 años de antigüedad en nuestro país. Asimismo, hubo talleres de destreza física y mental de diversos grupos indígenas del país. Se destacó la importancia del fortalecimiento de los juegos y deportes autóctonos y tradicionales.
Mr. Rodriguez, if we could trim it down a little bit, if we could get the brief, it's running out of time.
Okay. Perdón, no se escucha muy bien, se corta. Aquí la importancia de estos juegos, entre otras actividades se desarrollaron todos estos juegos ya de manera virtual y ahí el fortalecimiento que vamos a hacer. Y si me permiten reconocer por último a la presidenta Ana Claudia por el reconocimiento que le otorgaron hoy a esta federación. Felicidades, Ana Claudia, felicidades a toda la federación. Por último, en este evento que señalaba yo el año pasado, incluso estuvo el presidente Bilal Erdogan dando un emotivo mensaje y con un esfuerzo colectivo para desarrollar estas actividades en este contexto de la pandemia. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining our session. We now have from the USA, Mrs. Jorana Rotic. Hello. Thank you for joining the session. Welcome.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Greetings again from the United States. I am based in North Carolina. I'm a professor at North Carolina Central University, where I'm also the department chair of kinesiology and administration. So traditional sports and games are dear to my heart. I want to thank the organizers of this conference. So I want to thank all the organizers of His Excellency the President of Turkey, His Excellency the President of the World Ethnosport, and all the organizers for putting together such a great event. So I think given the fact that we have such a coronavirus, this pandemic has endemically affected everything that it has affected people's life, academic institutions, including traditional sports and games. So moving forward, what are some of the lessons we could learn? So what we've noticed is during this time, we've seen a big disruption with all skills. including for the sports industry, and that includes us also through sports and games. So therefore, we need to, again, I am a professor, we actually have to adapt all our teaching, all our games, and we have to adapt in a huge way, and we've had to move to digital. So given this day and time, we have a huge generation that demands digital consumption. So therefore, as a sports industry, we should also adapt our activities to meet the digital consumption demands. We need to focus on digital innovations moving forward as to how we do this with sports and games. We also see that there's a need for esports. We really need to work together as a I'm looking forward to working together with my USA team to put together activities and see if we can utilize social media and the digital space to meet the digital demands. Lastly, as a member of the Research and Publication Commission of International Council of Sports and Games, we're actually working on we're working on a worldwide digital encyclopedia. We've been meeting as the 5 commissioners, so we're working on that. We are hoping that to get that done very soon so we can share that. So again, I really want to thank you. And moving forward, I look forward to working with all of you and with my US team, the greatest US team that we have, to see how we can utilize the social media and the digital media space and the innovative technology that we have. I'm going to give it brief because I know you have a lot of people waiting. Again, I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now we have Mrs. Calavia from the United Kingdom with us. Hello, Claire. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting us. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Brilliant. So my name is Claire and I'm Vice President of the International Horseback Archery Alliance. We're in our 8th year now and we have 36 member countries. Because we have a global reach, we've always needed to have a strong online presence from the start. And we primarily use Facebook to share our ideas and services with the horseback archery community. This has been supported by a website and an online results portal. Historically, there were 3 main areas where digitalization has helped us. Firstly, a website. Secondly, social media, namely Facebook. And thirdly, an online results portal. Firstly, to the website. This, of course, is useful to allow anyone to access our current rule book and information on all of our provisions. And I feel that one of the most significant areas is the digital archive of tracks that we keep on our website and the course database. So anyone, anywhere can access these tracks. And we encourage people to submit any track for inclusion, whether it's historic, cultural, or whether it's something new that they've designed for training. Secondly, using Facebook to run postal matches, which we've been doing for 8 years now. For those not familiar with the concept of postal matches, they're set up as prescribed and run at home with a witness and results submitted, and then we report the results on Facebook. There's no physical prize, merely the enjoyment of participating, which is what it's all about, and the personal challenge. People have 2 months to take part, and at the end of that period, we set another match. Participation can often reach 150 people, and we've started to run matches that are specifically for beginners. And recently, we've used the postal matches to format tracks that are culturally significant in one region, but unknown elsewhere. So that's really good for sharing the culture of our sport. Thirdly is our online results portal. We use this for returning scores, both for live competition and for postal matches. During our major competitions, people anywhere can check out the scores and watch the results of the competition coming in live. And as far as the postal matches go, the results portal allows club leaders to log scores directly, and then we can collate and publish them quickly and easily. It even allows us to create a ranking at the end of the year to include all the results through that year. So that's what we've been doing historically, and now looking at how things have changed and developed over the last year. So This time last year, we cancelled all of our live competitions for 2020, including our World Championships, because, of course, of the coronavirus pandemic. But we wanted to still provide something else for our community. And our two priorities were firstly to create a competition to motivate and challenge our top athletes, but to ensure that the competition was accessible to everybody despite restrictions on travel and large gatherings. And secondly, to engage the wider horseback archery community, to encourage people to get behind their national teams, to know the personalities, to cheer their teams on. The result of these hopes was the World Grand Prix, which is an online tournament that ended up including 31 countries from 31 teams from 21 countries, from America to Australia, from South Africa to Mongolia. Each team of 9 horse archers had to organise their matches between June and October, which gave us a good time period to allow flexibility to work within local lockdown restrictions and also considering local climates and weather. We used Facebook heavily in promoting this competition. We set up a dedicated event page that we referred people to from our main federation page. We encouraged countries to share bios and photos of their riders in advance of the competition so that everybody knew who would be competing. And several European countries live streamed their competitions via the Facebook page, and others sent in videos and photos after the event. We also used hashtags to link posts on private and association pages with the competition. Having the results portal already functioning was a great help, as we didn't need to do too much to get that linked in with the World Grand Prix. The team managers uploaded their competition results and the system calculated the results for us. At the end of the competition, we announced the winners with a video that amassed tens of thousands of views, and the video included the winner as well as footage from all the nations that had taken part, and now that's permanently accessible on YouTube for people to watch. So, as I hope you can see, digital tools have been invaluable to us for years, really, but they have definitely come into their own in 2020. We were fortunate to already have the systems in place, and also people were familiar with using them, which helps. So in a year when many sports have struggled, we've actually held our biggest event yet, with 250 horse archers galloping approximately 4,000 kilometres of competition track in 80 local events. Also, the World Grand Prix had the unexpected benefit of allowing us to include competitors who would ordinarily find it difficult to compete in international events due to either the expense or practicalities of travelling. So juniors and para-athletes are competitors that have particularly benefited in this last year. Of course, it's a concern and frustration to us all that coronavirus restrictions are ongoing, but we've just launched the 2021 World Grand Prix, and we hope that it can grow on the success of last year. So thank you very much for we appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us, Claire. We are now joined by Adem Kaya from the United States. Hello, welcome to the session.
Much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. Hayırlı günler diliyorum, başarılar diliyorum sizlere de. İsmim Adem Kaya. Amerika'da profesör olarak çalışıyorum. Geleneksel sporlar ve oyunlar üzerine uzun süredir yaptığımız çalışmalar var. Bu çalışmalarımızı daha çok belki bazı arkadaşlarımız biliyordur. Kırgızistan Manas Üniversitesi Araştırma Merkezi, Geleneksel Sporlar Uygulama ve Araştırma Merkezi bünyesinde gerçekleştiriyoruz. Ben de o araştırma merkezinin Amerika temsilcisi olarak görev yapıyorum. Aynı zamanda uluslararası ilişkiler koordinatörlüğünü de yapıyorum. So thank you again for inviting me, and I want to just introduce myself briefly. My name is Adem Kaya. I work as a professor in the United States. I am the representative of Traditional Sports and Game Research Centers of Manas University. in the United States, and I'm also the international coordinator for the center. And the topic is definitely very interesting, digitalization in the global world nowadays. I just want to give you what we have done and what we could do in the future in order to meet the demand to promote traditional sports and game in the world, especially for the youngsters. As a research centers, last several years, I've been involved with the research centers activities. As a research center, we have done, under the leadership of Professor Mehmet Türkmen, we have done many events, including 10 international panels. And at first, during this pandemic, we started with the traditional sports and game TSG strong themes back in April last year. So we believe that during this pandemic, it's very important to utilize the technology and digital world and social media. So we started organizing within our network international symposium and panels. And every month we host at least one event under the Traditional Sports and Research and Development Center, Manas University. The first one, as I mentioned, TSG Strong event took a lot of attention, and we continue to host such virtual meetings and panels, including traditional sports and game in school setting concept. And we also hosted a virtual workshop. I'll get to that one shortly about the Shalvar Wrestling virtual workshop with the president of the Shalvar Wrestling in Turkey, Shahin Hopur, and Pakistan Traditional Sports and Game Federation, Furkan Kahan. We did a virtual workshop. It worked out so well. And later on, we, as a research center, we hosted another international panels called Traditional Wrestlings in the World. So that project eventually turned into international publications, and we published a book. So we're very pleased with the outcome of that panels. Later on, of course, traditional sports research and game research centers under Mehmet Türkmen. Previously, we hosted 9 traditional sports symposiums. So this year, that same symposium took place virtually. We had over, I don't even remember, we have over 100 research-based papers presented at the symposium. It turned out so well. And in addition to that, at the local level, we collaborated with local institution and organization. Here in the United States, we try to utilize our networks and collaborations. I'm also the part of Traditional Sports and Game USA. Our president, Scott Wendell, I'm sure later on you probably give them a chance to address about his activity. So what we can do as a researcher and expert in the traditional sports and game field in order to meet the demand, as I mentioned, it is very important to develop a methodology and research in the traditional sports and game in order to promote the traditional sports and game, especially the mobilizations. You know, now earlier some fellows they shared some statistics how I believe you shared too some statistics how youth utilize mobile applications and so forth, and keeping up with the social media activities. So it is very important to utilize effective presentation, effective workshop, effective trainings, and promote as much as we can. And local organizations and federations definitely should put impact and effort to promote and develop their social networks and applications. I want to thank you again for allowing me to address. And as I said, the workshop is very vital, even if it's like short period of time. And we should develop a traditional sports and games activity with virtual workshops, and still we can do some. So thank you very much again for letting me talk, and look forward to collaborating more in the future with everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. Our next caller is from North Cyprus, Republic of Turkey. We've got Deni Maiden. Hello, welcome to the session.
Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so hello everyone, I'm psychologist Deni Maiden. Before starting my mini talk, I want to say first that it's a great honor to stand here today. In today's world, digitalization is a possible option for preserving historical value and cultural tradition. Social networks are becoming new media, like television, radio, and newspaper find their place in online video platform and blog. And hence, I'm here today to talk about the importance of social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to improve the access to information regarding traditional sports and game, to stimulate better understanding and make these games more attractive, to promote new trends, and at the same time transform traditional sports as game as desirable activity for young generation, to promote insufficiently known traditional practice, to stimulate public discussion and improve the understanding of importance of TSG and their role in the current COVID situation, to stimulate sustainable partnership for exchange of experience, knowledge, combining scientific and practical approach. And so here you may come with the question how we might spread awareness through social media. We need strong, consistent marketing strategy first, and then why not to incorporate in this process social influencers, TSG ambassadors, psychologists, and mass media promoter. We live in a world where most of the time our children see a given product online first. And then depends on the message spread, they decide to buy, check it. And in our case, the product is traditional sports and game. So from now on, we need to start to think how to make traditional sports and game a desirable online product. Everything is in our hands. So that's the end of my talk. Thanks a lot for the opportunity to be here today with you. Bana bu fırsatı verdiğiniz için çok teşekkür ediyorum. Kıbrıs'tan herkese selam var.
Thank you very much. Now we have a call from Iran. Mr. Mehdi from Iran.
Merhaba.
Hello, Mr. Mehdi. Welcome.
Hello. Sesim geliyor mu?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Greetings. I greet you all respectfully and cordially, the participants, and Mr. Bilal Erdogan, the President of World Ethnosports Confederation. I would like to thank all the people for their keen interest in traditional sports. I'm very happy that our childhood games from our ancestors are revived with the activities of the World Ethnosport Confederation. Here, the communication of traditional sports in social media with a huge scope is all the more desirable, in my opinion. The competitions here should be experienced. Coronavirus now occupies the whole world. I believe that here digitalization, digital communication is very important. I don't mean to take up too much of your time. I would like to thank you all. I would like to thank Mr. Bilal Erdogan also for his participation and organization of the Fourth World Ethnosport Confederation.
We now have Mr. Yusuf Al-Hoti from Oman. Seems we're good. Hello, Mr. Yusuf. Welcome to the session. Yes.
Yes, good evening.
Hello, welcome to the session.
First of all, I would like to express my grateful feeling to join this forum. in behalf of the International Tent Pegging Federation and the President, Mr. Muhammad Al-Fairuz, and the members from all over the world, nearly 45 countries. It's really glad to be part of the forum and hear from the other members about the important sports and heritage and cultural for each different countries. I would also like to have the International Tent Pegging Federation, which is this federation is formed in October 2013, and from 19 countries, and now we are nearly close to 50 countries. We had made first World Cup competition in 2014, and the last one was 2018 in UAE. Last month qualified for World Cup competition was in India. In regard to the digital use in the federation, we have the platforms long time using this website of the International Tent Pegging Federation, which is itpf.net. You can check, all the members can check, and also platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. But during the pandemic, of course, everybody has a problem making activities and everything. We really made some activities, like I said, in India, the qualifying competition for World Cup for 2023, and some courses in Oman, trainee courses and the rider courses for the sport. Of course, we are promoting the sport in the platforms. For example, last year, in the day of the International Tent Pegging Federation, which was in October 27, last year, the President, Muhammad Fairuz, had a speech, and we raised and made a digital competition, which was a best video or photo of the tent pegging sport in the world. And it was really good activity because many riders and sporters and also the executives has participated in this competition digitally in the Facebook. So they send photos and videos through the Instagram, Facebook, and also in the Twitter. That promoted the sport and promoted the numbers of the followers for the sport and all the platforms. So here we are non-stop during the pandemic, but we are using the digital uses for the promoting the sport. Of course, we don't forget Zoom. All our team meetings has turned to Zoom since the pandemic came. So we had board members meeting in Zoom likely every month, and we have last month meeting for the beginning of every year for the members, all the countries member meeting was held and controlled in Oman, where is the resident of the International Tent Pegging Federation. Therefore, I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity in the behalf of the President of the International Tent Pegging Federation and also all the members of this sport. Of course, the International Tent Pegging Federation, as I said, is a heritage and cultural sport in all the countries for 100 years, like in Egypt and India, Pakistan, and UK and Europe, many countries, and also in Arab countries. So many thanks for letting me having this speech. I am very glad. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have our next caller from Ukraine. Mr. Andrei Chesnakova is the Deputy Minister of Youth and Sport.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the session.
Yeah, sorry that I'm making this call outside because we have a lockdown in Ukraine. But I would like to welcome all the organizers of this event.
and say that it's a good example of the digital technology use. For Ukraine, it's very important to develop ethnosports. We have spas fighting, and we have also national Ghopak wrestling that are the parts of our national agenda. We are ready to share our digital experience with everybody, and we welcome the opportunity made by the representatives from UK and USA to share with us. I thank you and sorry for the technical difficulties.
Thank you for joining. Thank you very much. Now we have a call from Panama, Mr. Pablo Greenstories. We are currently connecting. Hello, welcome to the session. Can you turn your mic on, please? Mike. There's no sound. Could you put... Oh wait, it seems we're having some sound problems. Again, if you would like to join in on the discussion, raise your hand and click the Start Discussion. Going into a small video break now.
Ethnosports is the collective wealth of traditional sports and games that have been performed for centuries in different nations from various geographies. Ethnosports is the experience that has been passed on from generation to generation through belongings, stories, poems, by word of mouth, and the things that form our individuality and make us who we are. It is competition, not ambition. Struggle, not war. Health, not doping. The player's potential and the fans that cheer, not customers. It is the place where different cultures meet and mingle. The simplicity of having walked the same land. The excitement of lifting a tradition back onto its feet. In light of these objectives, formed in 2015, the World Ethnosport Confederation is a relatively new institution, but it has deep-rooted accumulation, and with its professional representatives in the numerous countries who are aware of their responsibility to revive time-honored sports that many nations have performed in distant geographies over the centuries to increase awareness and to transfer the culture to future generations. The World Ethnosport Confederation continues its journey through the wealth of activities, festivals, forums, and academic studies. It arranges for the purposes of preserving traditional sports that are humanity's common heritage and systematically ensuring their continuity with discipline.
Welcome back. We have Mrs. Irina from Moldova. Hello, welcome to the session.
Merhabalar efendim. Saygılı moderatör, işitiyor musunuz beni?
Yes, I can hear you.
Alo.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Alo.
Yes, I can hear you.
Alo. İşitiyor musunuz beni?
Yes.
Alo. Okay.
Okay.
Saygılı katılımcılar,
Sözlerimi saygılarımla başlamak istiyorum. Öncelikle bana sizlerle bir arada bulunmak ve kendi fikirlerimi sizinle paylaşmak fırsatı sunan Dünya Ethnosport Konfederasyon Başkanı Sayın Necmettin Bilal Erdoğan Bey'e hem tüm organizatörlere teşekkür etmek istiyorum. Hepimiz biliyoruz ki milli gelenek sporlar bizi halkın gelenek ve görenekleriyle tanıştırır. Çok eski zamanlardan beri halk oyunları geleneksel spor etkinlikleri açıkça insanların yaşam tarzını yansıtır. Ayrıca tüm bu etkinlikler insanlara kendilerine oluşan cesaret, güç, el becerileri, dayanıklılığı yaratmalarını zamandaş istediğini ve yeni buluşma yapma arzularını ortaya çıkarır. Biliriz hani biz yaşıyoruz şimdi dijital teknoloji çağında hem bizim yeni teknolojileri kullanarak milli gelenek sporların yaygınlaştırılması ve uygulanması arttırılabilir. Sporun dijitalleşme COVID-19 salgınından çok önce başladı. Dünya çapında ünlü sporcular artık antrenman arasında sporcuların durumunu izleyen akıllı saatler, çeşitli izleyiciler ve analitik sistemini kullanıyorlar. Sporda yapay zeka, analistik, taktikçilik ve çok güzel koç rollerini oynuyorlar. Ancak koronavirüs spor tech endüstri müşteri tabanında büyümenin itici gücü haline geldi. Dünyanın önde gelen bilgi teknoloji şirketleri bir sporcunun vücudunun fiziksel göstergelerin takip edebilen hareketlerini düzeltebilen uygulaşan cirit gerekmektedir. Ethnosport konusunda da çok önemli olan fikirlerimiz var. Gerekirse onları...
Thank you very much. It seems we're having some difficulties with sound again. We are now connecting Mr. Dimitris from Latvia. Hello.
Добрый день, вы меня слышите? Hello.
Welcome to the session.
Yeah, thank you. Я буду говорить по-русски. Уважаемые участники форума, спасибо, что уже 4-й раз подряд Мировая конфедерация этноспорта выбирает очень актуальные темы, и дигитализация по понятным всем причинам сейчас является очень важным фактором. Я хотел бы поговорить немножко дальше. Мы начали эксперименты с использованием дополненной и виртуальной реальности для того, чтобы на открытом воздухе дать возможность людям заниматься какими-то интересными культурными вещами, в том числе включая спортивные активности. У нас в Латвии, как во многих странах Евросоюза, локдаун значит, что ты сидишь дома и максимум можешь выходить из дома там, на территории где-то, например, от 1 до 5-6 километров. Это значит, и плюс мы имеем право только проводить время в такой узком кругу семьи, максимум 2 семьи. Поэтому очень актуальны различные развлечения и полезные такие вот времяпрепровождения, которые можно делать на открытом воздухе маленькому количеству людей. Я хочу поделиться одним из проектов, над которым мы сейчас работаем. Это так называемая augmented или дополненная реальность, вот, если видите. Это создание объектов и через аппликацию в определенных местах с этими объектами их можно видеть, от них можно получать какую-то информацию, и следующий шаг, который мы хотим ввести, это возможность с ними, так сказать, виртуальную игру фактически перенести на какие-то очень исторические ценные места. Поэтому, если посмотреть вообще на развитие дигитализации, то номер 1, конечно, это распространение информации через веб-страницы. И я бы посоветовал подумать о том, чтобы тематические веб-страницы дополнить конкретными разделами, например, веб-магазин. То есть открывается конкретный вид спорта, читается правила, там должны быть видеоролики, как заниматься этим видом спорта, и сразу же можно, например, купить какую-то дополнительную литературу, либо экипировку по спорту. Потому что сейчас онлайн-магазин, в принципе, все знают, это самая ходовая тема. Следующий шаг, это как раз таки то, что над чем мы сейчас работаем, это экспериментальный проект, которые перенесение вот этой виртуальной реальности уже в конкретную среду. Ну, допустим, есть какая-то очень важная гора, или, например, там, городище, или поле, где происходили какие-то важные исторические события, мы там можем поставить такие виртуальные объекты, что не требует дополнительного строительства. И с помощью игровых элементов, ну, виртуальной игры, мы можем также оживить и сделать какую-то интерактивность между людьми. Поэтому я вот посоветовал бы тоже насчет этого поработать и сделать общий такой пилотный проект, который потом можно было бы копировать, ну, в разных странах. Спасибо большое. Удачи.
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. We now have our next participant from Turkey, Mr. Ibrahim Yildirim. Hello. Welcome to the session.
Merhabalar. Merhabalar. Öncelikle davetiniz için çok teşekkür ediyorum bu foruma. Ve kuruluşundan çok kısa bir zaman geçmesine rağmen dünya etnik sporları hakkında çok büyük bir farkındalık yaratan Konfederasyonumuzun Sayın Genel Başkanı Necmettin Bilal Erdoğan'ı kutluyorum. Takdirlerimi ve teşekkürlerimi sunuyorum. Benim gündeme getireceğim konu yine dijitalleşme bağlamında dijital bilgi kaynaklarının oluşturulması ve ulaşımının kolaylaştırılması olacak. Çok kısa tutacağım. Tabii ki öncelikle mevcut tarihsel ve aktüel bilgilerin bir araya getirileceği bir dijital ansiklopedinin oluşturulması gerekiyor. Fakat bu tabii ki çok uzun soluklu bir iş, çok geniş katılımlı uzmanların çabalarını gerektiriyor. Fakat partner ülkelerin kuracakları komisyonlarla, ki ansiklopedi ve sözlük deneyimleri her ülkede var, kuracakları komisyonların oluşturacakları madde havuzlarını ve havuzlardan elde ettikleri maddelerin ana ve alt başlıklarının oluşturulmasını sağlamaları, sonra uygun ana hatların belirlenmesi ve yazarların görevlendirilmesiyle artı çeşitli görsel zenginleştirmeleri ve mümkünse tabii ki konu başlıklarının, yani geleneksel spor adlarının üzerine tıklanarak ulaşılabilecek videolar, uygulama videolarının oluşturulması gayet isabetli olacaktır diye düşünüyorum. Ayrıca tabii ki bu uzun bir süreç alacağından öncelikle bir sözlük çalışmasının, Dünya Ethnosport Sözlüğü hazırlanmasının, Konfederasyonumuzun da meri dillerle yazılmış bir sözlüğün hazırlanmasının çok faydalı olacağını ve bunun çok daha kısa bir sürede bitirileceğini düşünüyorum. Ayrıca tabii ki şimdi de bilimsel araştırmalar boyutu var, popüler olması yanında. Ortak uluslararası çalışmaların yapılabilmesi için bir dijital arşiv oluşturulmasını öneriyorum. Yani her ülkenin kendi geleneksel sporları, etnosporu hakkında mümkün olan belgeyi, dokümanı tarihsel ya da aktüel dijitalleştirerek hizmete sunmasında büyük fayda olacağını düşünüyorum. Bu vesileyle tekrar foruma davetinizden dolayı teşekkürlerimi sunuyorum ve tüm katılımcıların mimiklerinde, jestlerinde gördüğüm heyecandan Konfederasyonun ne kadar büyük bir iş başardığını anlamamız mümkün oluyor. Bu nedenle de tekrar teşekkürlerimi sunuyorum.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Our next participant is from Azerbaijan, Mr. Kazım Kurbanoğlu. Kurbanov, I'm sorry, Mr. Kazım Kurbanov. Hello, welcome to the session. Hello.
Sesim geliyor mu size?
Yes. Yes.
Duyabiliyor musunuz beni?
Yes, I can hear you, yes. Seems we're having some sound difficulties once again. Yes, we can hear you. lost connection. We're now going to cross to our next participant. Mrs. Anna Kotina from Czech Republic is now with us. Hello, welcome to the session.
I hope you can hear us clearly. I will be speaking very shortly. I have one idea. A few days ago, I was listening some lecture, and it was mentioned that every person on this planet is doing one search via Google every second day. And if I search something via Google, and this thing, let's say, for example, image or Pogboru or something, if it is on the Wikipedia, the first thing you get. So my suggestion is for the countries which are not famous for the traditional games, but they want to show people that these things exist, to start writing the articles for the Wikipedia. My second contribution is, even if we are trying using digital media, there are still people who are not connected. Last year, many people stayed home and played games. We are promoters of the board games, and one of my suggestions, for example, using the everyone knows what like what. So, for example, you have these Lego sets like with Indians or other nations, and I think we can use these toys for promoting the ethnosports as well. You want to say?
Yeah. Also, we have great expertise in promoting and running intellectual game events in Czech Republic, and we're both international trainers, arbiters in various sports and games in a number of countries. And we have the expertise to teach people a number of activities, and we recommend that information on various games be promoted and made available online using either maybe an Ethnosport's server where people can learn rules and also have the ability to play various games, either in a competitive atmosphere or non-competitive atmosphere as an individual chooses. Many games should be available such that people can choose what's suitable for their particular interests and inclinations. One of the good things about intellectual games, especially games of pure strategy and skill, is that usually very little equipment is needed. The cost of such equipment is very low, and there's very little logistics problems, if any, in organizing events.
Thank you so much. Thank you for participating. Our next participant is from Azerbaijan, Mr. Kazim Kurbanov. We've connected with him once again. Let's hope we have a better connection this time. Hello, welcome to the session.
Dünya Ethnosport Konfederasyonu Başkanı Sayın Bilal Erdoğan sizleri forum iştiraklarına salamlayıram. Mənə söz verdiyiniz üçün sizə təşəkkür edirəm. Mən Azərbaycan Milli İdman Assosiasiyasının prezidentiyəm. Milli və idman növbəli hər bir xalqın özəl məmsurluğunun, qan yaddaşının, öz torpağının bağlılığının bariz nümunəsidir. O gənclərdə cəsarət, igidlik, dözümlülük, əməkdən zövq almaq, vətəni müdafiəyə hazır olmaq kimi keyfiyyətlər
aşılamaqda əvəzi olmaz bir vasitədir. Azərbaycan artıq beynəlxalq aləmdə idman ölkəsi kimi tanınır. Bu həyata keçirilən uğurlu dövlət siyasətinin məntiqi nəticəsidir. İdmançılar həyatlaraflı qayğıyla əhatə olunur ki, bu da beynəlxalq yarışlarda daha böyük uğurlar əldə etməyə imkan yaradır. Burada söylənən təkliflərin və fikirlərin Azərbaycanın və digər ölkələrin milli və ələmi idman növlərinin inkişafının böyük töhfəsi olacaqdır. Bizim ölkə dövlət başçılığının, Gənclər və İdman Nazirliyimizin Azərbaycanın və digər xalqların milli və ələmi idman növlərinin qayğısı danılmazdır. Biz bu qayğını Azərbaycanda və digər ölkələrdə keçirilən idman tədbirlərində davam etdik. Hal-hazırda öz milli idman növlərimiz ilə yanaşı, digər xalqların 11 milli idman növləri də Azərbaycan Milli İdman Assosiasiyasının tərkibinə daxildir. Bunlardan biri də qardaş olan Türkiyənin qədim milli idman növü olan ABA güləşidir və Azərbaycanda bu idman növü böyük maraq vardır. Bizim qarşımızda olan əsas məsələlərdən biri dövlətlərin milli idman növləri kimi Azərbaycanın milli idman növləri olan milli güləş, zorxana və pəhləvan güləşi növləri arasında tanınmasında və inanıram ki, gələcəkdə iş fəaliyyətimizdə bunlar olacaq. Diqqətinizə görə təşəkkür edirəm. Minnətdarım. Sağ olun.
Thank you for joining. Our next participant is from Spain, Miss Parella.
Hola, muy buenas tardes. ¿Se me escucha, verdad?
Hello, welcome to the session.
Nada, comentarles, soy especialista. Lo primero de todo, darle el agradecimiento a la organización por la invitación. Ha sido un placer participar con ustedes y decirles que soy especialista en juegos y deportes tradicionales de las Islas Canarias. Unas islas que se encuentran en el norte de África y que pertenecen al Estado español. Comentarles que llevo más de 25 años trabajando con los juegos y deportes tradicionales en estas islas y sobre todo con la promoción en los centros educativos. Soy responsable de un programa de juegos tradicionales en el Ayuntamiento de Pelve, en la isla de Gran Canaria. Y además de eso, realizo mis estudios de doctorado en la Universidad de Lleida y pertenezco al grupo de investigación en acción motriz DIAM, también de la Universidad de Lleida. Comentarles que lo importante de la visibilidad existente utilizando los medios digitales para promocionar los juegos y deportes tradicionales, yo creo que es fundamental. Es importantísimo el poder mostrar de forma no presencial, lo ideal sería de forma presencial realizar diferentes actividades de juegos tradicionales, pero si no se puede, y en estos casos ahora mismo con el COVID-19 pues muy complicado, pues utilizar las redes y los medios digitales para poder seguir realizando esas promociones y dar a conocer los juegos tradicionales, tanto del contexto cultural local donde se desarrollan, como también poder conocer otras prácticas lúdicas tradicionales existentes en otros lugares. Eso nos puede ayudar a darnos cuenta de que somos es un todo en sí. Los juegos tradicionales están interrelacionados entre sí y eso puede hacer que nos conozcamos, que nos valoremos y que nos podamos unir e interrelacionar en cuestiones de información, de documentos, de conocimientos y de intercambio de materiales. Es lo que yo quería comentar con este tipo de foro que está hablando. Muchísimas gracias por haberme atendido.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Ben Chavani Zahira from Tunisia. Connecting now. Hello, welcome to the session.
Bonjour, est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Yes, we
Bonjour.
hear you.
D'accord, donc je suis enseignante universitaire
à l'Institut des sports et de l'éducation physique de Tunisie, à l'Université de Tunis. Je suis également membre de l'Association africaine des jeux et sports traditionnels. À ce sujet, j'aimerais vous informer de deux choses principales. J'en profite dans ce forum pour le faire. Avant cela, j'aimerais féliciter mon collègue et compatriote, M. Abdou Bouzi, qui a eu un prix qui a été décerné par la WEC. Donc je le remercie d'avoir reconnu tout son travail au niveau des GST. Et pour cela, j'aimerais également féliciter cette magnifique organisation qui fait toujours les choses de manière très grande et très efficace. Donc, concernant l'association africaine des jeux traditionnels, nous préparons un forum. J'en suis moi-même responsable du comité scientifique à l'intérieur de cette association. Et ce forum qui était prévu pour le mois de juin va être, bien malheureusement à cause du Covid, reporté et fait éventuellement pour la fin de l'année, si tout va bien, ou le début de l'année prochaine. Ce forum va consister à présenter toutes les richesses et les diversités des jeux traditionnels qui sont en Afrique. Et donc, il va notamment être constitué d'événements pluriels et divers pour présenter sous forme de festival tous nos jeux extraordinaires africains. Et puis, nous ferons à l'intérieur de ce forum un colloque scientifique qui consistera à présenter, à faire un petit inventaire des jeux traditionnels en Tunisie, en Afrique et partout dans les pays qui représentent ce si beau continent. Donc, à part ça, pour répondre à la thématique de ce forum, j'aimerais également vous informer d'un projet que nous sommes en train d'effectuer, qui est un projet Erasmus+, qui s'appelle Opportunity, qui est un projet qui rassemble plusieurs pays d'Europe et dont la Tunisie. Moi-même et Asdine Bouzid en font partie. Nous allons, à travers ce projet, travailler sur le thème principal dont l'objectif est de favoriser l'inclusion sociale et l'égalité des genres à travers les JST. Et donc, pour l'instant, étant donné la pandémie, nous nous sommes contentés effectivement de se réunir à distance, mais les médias, les réseaux sociaux sont là pour compenser cette absence de rencontre. Et je vous invite personnellement à vous rendre sur ces différents liens qui représentent justement ce projet, ce magnifique projet qui va, à travers les jeux traditionnels, favoriser tous les thèmes dont on a parlé, dont tous les candidats.
We're running out of time. We're going to need to cut it a little bit.
Je voulais juste vous informer que Opportunity était un moyen pour montrer que les réseaux sociaux pouvaient travailler à ce niveau-là. Et je vous remercie pour votre attention.
Thank you so much for joining us. Our next caller is from Uzbekistan, Gulhajan Mardanova. Hello and welcome to the session.
Добрый вечер. Добрый вечер. Assalamu alaikum. Я Владон Лобиджохан Амалина, доктор философии, попедагогическим наукам и собиратель и пропагандист Узбекского карпатского игры.
Во-первых, я хочу особенно поблагодарить. Спасибо, что вы организатором форума, хочу сказать. Пользуясь случаем, хочу сказать, что деятельность конфедерации свидетельствует о большом понимании истории, культуры и духовности народов мира. Игры сближает народы мира, вызывает их единству, добру, взаимопониманию и к гуманизму. Надеюсь, что станет вкладом в дальнейшее утверждение на планете мира и благополучия. Пользуясь случаем, выдвигаю следующие предложения для будущей работы форума, конечно. Во-первых, на основании близких друг к другу игр тюркских и европейских народов наладить обмен опытом между странами мира. Во-вторых, проведение соревнований по схожим играм народов мира. В-третьих, создание фирм по глубоко изученным играм, подготовка передач, налаживание взаимного опыта по аналитическим статьям, опубликованным в средствах массовой информации. Проведение международных фестивалей по играм народов мира. И еще организация международных экспедиций, связанных с историей игр и их происхождением. Издание энциклопедии игр народов мира на нескольких языках, я думаю, это обязательно. Это Барик Изучи Рахмат. Спасибо за внимание.
Very much. Thank you for joining us. We've now come to the end of the session and the forum. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to our followers, attendees, and our online participants. And now to deliver the forum's closing remarks. The President of the World Ethnosport Confederation, Mr. Necmettin Bilal Erdogan. We would also like to apologise to those online who tried to call in but couldn't get the connection. Let's hope next year or in the future we have a conference like this again and we can discuss things like this once again. We're going into a video break now and then we will have the President, Mr. Necmettin Bilal Erdogan, discuss the closing speech. Thank you.
Under the motto Reviving Traditional Sports, the World Ethnosport Confederation aims to systematize traditional sports and games while increasing awareness and making their practice more accessible and permanent. The Ethnosport Forum brings together many esteemed participants from all over the world to discuss challenging topics regarding the past, present, and future of ethnosports. The Ethnosport Forum provides the opportunity to determine joint strategies and international collaborations aimed at reviving traditional sports through a collective platform. The Ethnosport Forum, which has been held annually since 2018 and welcomes participants from 70 different countries, invites attendees to share ideas and help build a common ethnosports roadmap through panels and roundtable discussions. The Ethnosport Forum's purpose is to inspire the future of traditional sports through valuable ideas shared from experts in different fields. Esteemed ministers, dear guests, we have come to the conclusion of our fourth Ethnosport Forum. We had to undertake this forum online due to the pandemic. And despite the distances, I think this has been a most fruitful forum for the discussion of the future of traditional sports and games. This forum is a unique opportunity to come together in the field of traditional sports, and it really unites people from over 60 countries. Whomever is interested in traditional sports and games throughout the world comes to this forum in this fourth occasion
to talk about how to revive traditional sports. Therefore, I think it is a great occasion, and to have such an important group of individuals from various backgrounds that makes this such a rich occasion to talk about traditional sports. I think we have been successful in emphasizing the importance of tradition, respect, solidarity, and peace, and to unite around these basic values that makes traditional sports such an important value for the future of the world. Obviously, the pandemic has made digitalization a more imminent reality for the world. A reality that makes us here today in a green box to talk about traditional sports rather than come face to face and discuss these issues. And I think we have been already discussing in the first 3 Ethnosport forums the importance of this digitalization to popularize traditional sports. If we want to talk about a revival of traditional sports, obviously digital channels are very important. We have to talk about games and applications. We have to talk about the role of social media. We have to talk about how to reach the youth and children and how to interact with them. That is why I think digitalization again is at the fore of our discussions about traditional sports, and the pandemic has made it even more imminent. Obviously, the World Ethnosport Confederation has limited its activities during the pandemic, and we know most of our members and most of the participants to this forum has been very limited in their involvements with traditional sports. But we have continued, obviously, to the extent that we could through social media, through internet, and through online meetings. Obviously, we could only hold a members meeting through Zoom, and it spread from Argentina and Mexico to Japan. So while it was morning in the American continent, it was evening in Japan. But I think this occasion, again, was a good occasion to meet throughout the world with so many countries contributing. We had the TSG Executive Research Committee actively working throughout this period. We have focused on the PhD scholarship program, which I would like to especially emphasize here, because these scholarships are going to, I think, emphasize academic research into traditional sports and games. And we offer these scholarships globally. So far, we have had several applications, and we have had 3 applicants already accepted, and they are getting their scholarships. And I would like participants today, especially academicians, to spread the word about our scholarship program for PhD candidates so that we will have more research into traditional sports and games. And the TSG Executive Committee has also, I think, proceeded in its work with the Traditional Sports and Games Encyclopedia. And we have already laid out a roadmap into preparing this encyclopedia. And so I think it's safe to say that we went back to the drawing board. While we had limited ability to do sports physically, we have had a chance to work systemically about these academic initiatives. And so I would like to thank TSG Executive Research Committee for their contributions. Ultimately, the 4th forum is an important step in reminding all of us the importance of traditional sports for the future of the world, because traditional sports and the revival of traditional sports and games is important in reviving cultures and keeping the richness
cultural richness of the world. I would like to thank all participants for their contributions. I would like to thank Their Excellencies, the ministers, for taking place. Some of them were actually here, and the rest sent their messages. And I would like to thank President of Turkey for sending a video message to our fourth forum. And I hope we will be able to hold our fifth forum in Baku as it was planned for this year. And thanks also go to our sponsors for making this event a success. And I would like to thank my colleagues for their hard work in making this online forum a great success. And I hope to meet you all next year in Baku. Thank you very much.